So today we will be discussing the book called Witch Voices: Women in Tune with Conscious Healing, Remember Their Truth and Reclaim Their Power. Witch Voices. Okay, and we have the authors. We have Tonya Parker on with us. She edited the book, and we also have Stephanie Blanche. She's one of the curators of the book as well. She has a part in the book. So we're going to discuss them and talk about this book. I also wanted to tell them that today is their happy 1 year book anniversary. So welcome, ladies. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want you all to tell them a little bit about yourselves. Tonya, you can go first, and then Stephanie, you go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Tonya Parker, and I hail from Virginia. I'm a Virginia girl living in a Maryland world. I'll say that. So I am a holistic healer, teacher, writer, coach, voiceover artist, what have you. Um, and so I have this amazing witch community where I support women in tune with conscious healing to remember their truth, reclaim their power, step fully into their purpose. So those are some snapshots of me.
Oh, Tanya, you so much bigger than all of that. I'm gonna just throw it out there. She is all of that, and then it just goes and goes and goes. So I'm Stephanie. I'm from Chicago, 60644. Okay, I'll stop. But I am from Chicago, and I am in Jersey, New Jersey currently. I got here by way of New York. I ran away 17 years ago, and I landed here, and it has been everything from my evolution. And I guess that's what I am. I'm evolving. I had been a classroom teacher for 20 years. And then I left that position 2 years ago to become a consultant and coach. So I go in to schools and support them through the lens of restorative justice. So everything that you do, all the moves you make, the building of community, and then the way in which we restore community is all from that plate. It's not protocols and practices, but a way of being and living with young people and all of the stakeholders. So that's like officially what I'm doing post classroom. But then the time that it gave me allowed me to open up to some of my other creative stuff. So I've been writing my whole life, and now like clearly it's turned into like an evolved version of that. I'm like author, I guess I can say. Um and I do some curriculum writing. We're looking at me sort of doing that with our witches, developing out their spiritual courses because I've been writing curriculum for 20 years too. Um, I don't know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Yeah, yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Great,
Mm.
great. I just wanted to add with Tonya in the book, you said you are a Renaissance woman. So that means you have a lot of titles, So I just want to let the people know that you are versatile. You are a woman of many titles.
A woman who is not afraid to rebirth herself over and over again.
Yes, yes, yes.
That
I
is
was
for
amazed. I was like, whoa, she do all this? Oh
Yep,
my God,
yep, yep.
where do you find the time? But hey, we gotta do what we gotta do, right? um, all right, so I want to jump right on in, ladies. Let's start this discussion. And in the introduction, you stated that you lost your entire livelihood during COVID, but you did some extraordinary things in the process. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. COVID came at the time. I was doing some writing, I was doing some teaching, I was doing a number of different things. However, my primary bread and butter was massage therapy. And so, starting my career as a psychotherapist and moving out of mental health, eventually going into the private sector as a corporate trainer. And then, at the same time, my whole woo woo was coming in, holistic stuff was coming in by way of massage. And so when COVID came, everything got shut down and it was illegal to be working in that way. So I had to totally reinvent myself. And in the midst of that, I started offering virtual courses, doing a lot of relax and restore work. You know, you don't have to touch someone to help them to be relaxed and to deal with stress. So that was going on. I went to a business academy that one of our Witch Sisters, Sunanda, invited me to. And it happened to come at a time when I was down with COVID and
Mm,
just trying to come up out of it. And COVID took me down for around 3 weeks. And I came up out of it, and it's like a lot of clarity came forth during that time. And I knew that I was to really pour into this whole idea of witch, which I had written about in a book. I don't even know when I actually published the book, 2015 maybe. I did the audiobook first, Diary of a Witch's Daughter, which was a young adult novel, but the idea of witch came forth from spirit for that book. And the idea that witch was this acronym for Women in Tune with Conscious Healing. And knowing that we're approaching this age of Aquarius, a lot of people are awakening. More and more people in my communities I saw were seeking
mhm,
and looking to live more authentically. And so, one of the ways in which my witch comes forth, my personal juju, is as a throat chakra shaman. And so, helping people to more authentically express is something that's really important for me. And I'm learning it's more like helping myself more authentically express. So, that witch was just itching to get out. It
mhm,
was a witch itch.
mhm. It was a witch itch.
The time for hiding was over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I'm sure it was definitely a change and a switch for you because, at first you was meeting these people face to face, and then all of a sudden you had to figure out how am I going to still meet with these clients and, keep my job going and, so virtual became
Mhm.
a thing for everybody. It's the new norm now.
It's the new norm. I'm grateful for Zoom. You know,
Yes, yes, yes.
yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. And, I know being a very kinesthetic person, having chosen massage therapy as one of the ways in which I express my healing, I like touch. That's one of my love languages, physical touch. So being isolated in that way with my little family, oh, no bueno. And so I have learned to just glean as much as I can from these virtual connections. And I wouldn't have met people like Stephanie if it weren't for that. And so I'm so grateful. I've really helped to expand my community exponentially through the virtual platforms that came about from COVID. So I'm always looking for the silver lining, the lesson in things that come out of nowhere or appear quote unquote bad or tragic. I'm always seeing what's in it for me.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. Now, the title of the book, of course, is Witch Voices. And I wanted to address that because most people, the thoughts of the word witch are
Mhm.
negative. There's
Mhm.
nothing
Mhm.
good with the word witch. They associate it with witchcraft. Oh, witch! I don't want to read that book. Like Stephanie said earlier, people look at the title and it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna read that. But I wanted to know, why is that? Why do they have such a negative view of the word witch?
Oh, well, there has been a campaign happening for centuries, vilify witch, the term witch. And, you see it back in biblical days, you see it in, all throughout history. And the term witch has been very pejorative, and it has been wielded as a weapon
Mhm.
um, to strip women of power
Mhm.
and actually to strip people of power, but mainly it's been women who have been stripped of power by use of the term witch. For example, I saw a documentary several years ago, The Witches of Gambaga, And it talks about, if you are familiar with that, it's about 1,000 witch villages in Ghana.
Yeah.
And, it's just a way of stripping women who've done something or who own property that somebody wants, or they somehow have something, and it's a way of getting them out of the way,
Mhm.
disempowering them, banishing them, and taking what they have. And
Mhm.
so, even though witch has been more of a European term, there are terms for witches all over the world for, shaman, medicine women, people, obia, what have you, who are connected to nature, connected to source, who know how to wield power in those ways. And if you don't understand that, or if you are afraid of that, then there's some people who will do whatever they can to disempower.
Absolutely. And I'd say I'd add to that to isolate, because I think it's an act of war, right? Actually. And I think that the isolation piece of it is meant to then eventually suck out the air so that that fire will go out.
Mm.
I think of witch as wise women standing fully emboldened in their power and our power. And that scares people who are not able to be in their authentic self. I think there is actually a deep triggering into the wound of not being rooted in a self-actualization of whoever we are meant to be. And I think it knows no gender, but the way in which it shows up in women, I think, terrifies those who refuse to stand in whatever their power is, because I don't think they have no power. I think that it is perverted and it is inauthentic, and
Mm.
that the way of the world has been that, I mean, power is to be able to tell a lie and get the whole world to play along with you, even though deep down inside we know that it's not true. And I think that has everything to do with the war on women and in their power, people in
Ashe.
their most authentic self, on
Mm.
assignment, um, without the need of an intercessor. And not to discredit intercessors, because we are that too, those message
Mm.
break. Um, but yeah, yeah. With that, I'm complete.
Yeah, Stephanie, I also want you to tell us a little bit about the piece that you wrote in there. Just explain it to everyone. The title of your part was Tumbled Gemstones Gather in Turning Tides. So go ahead and explain that to us.
So one, I'm a spirit writer. And so sometimes I don't have an intellectual understanding of what comes through. I just allow spirit. And so that title came through that way. But the first time that I read it, I actually read it. My sister had transitioned, my sister-in-law, but she my sister, had transitioned. So I came home, and after the service, we had all gone back to the hotel, and we were in there, grieving and loving on each other and laughing and, doing the whole thing. And I believe it was my niece. She was like, "Yeah, why don't you read that bedtime story?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a bedtime story. I guess it is a bedtime story." And I started to read it. And that was when I realized that, one, it was me reparenting my inner child. Um, it was me reframing having grown up a Jehovah's Witness, because it was damaging in so many ways for me, but it also gave me so much of what I need. And so it was a reconciliation of that. I think I wrote in there, my idea of eldership came through at going to the hall, right? I'll never throw that away. And there are these other like keys that I keep. The reconciliation that needed to happen though was like, I'm a witch. I'm a queer Black witch, to be clear. I was married to a woman for 7 years. There are lots of ways in which, what do they call it, the religious trauma lived in me. And this
Mm.
was my way of sifting through that shit and being like, and still I am, and I was always supposed to be exactly this. It is in the form of a epic poem, which I'm sorry, Tonya. She was like, poems can't be longer than such and such pages because of you, right? Because it's
Making stuff up now.
right. But it's like that's how I write. I write in poetry and prose generally, and it's dense. Um, so that's why my piece came out the way that I did. But I really think it was that, and then it turned out that it was like a past, present, and future self voice that was coming through, not just my own, but I think a larger version of that talking to one another and like giving these sort of marching orders on the assignment, sort of affirming the pieces that we come with that have been really brutalized and violated. Um, and there was a fun, like a play between them that was happening. And so I kept imagining three women, three different generations loving each other in this way. So that's really, I think, what is housed in my piece. And it didn't come from me, it came through me.
Thank you for that. Anyone have any questions? Anything they want to share? Anyone? I don't want to leave you all out either. Anything? Okay, so if you do have something, of course, just jump right in and say anything. I also wanted to ask, can you please tell us what does the number 222 means for those that do not know, Tonya?
Okay. So you're referencing in the introduction of the book, when all this was coming forth, it came down on 2/22, February 22nd, 2022. That was a whole lot of twos happening. And so I made the announcement about the book. Y'all, let's just say I couldn't wait until 2/22 because I was trying to wait until 2:22 p.m. Eastern. I announced that 2:22 p.m. I think it was Austrian time. But so that meant it was 8:22 a.m. because I'm such a morning person. But at the time I was an administrator for a call for many years that studied A Course in Miracles. And that particular day on 2/22, we just happened to be on lesson 2/22. It's 365 lessons, right?
Mm-hmm.
On 2/22. So all these twos is like, okay, I gotta look this up. So this is in the introduction. So I said, I'll read this little passage. There are 365 lessons, and 222 happened to fall on 2/22, 2022. No coincidence. The lesson is entitled, God is with me. I live and move in him. I felt God the Mother and God the Father energy with me, and I knew I was being guided to take that bold step right at that time. With several others on the call, I looked up angel number 222 and learned that it represents a fresh start. Renaissance woman, right? Perfect for a Renaissance woman able to rebirth and revive herself. In numerology, angel number 222 indicates that our optimistic thoughts and visualizations are soon going to come to fruition. With high femifestation energy and a portal open, yes to all of that. Who could wait until 2:22 p.m. Eastern? Therefore, Austrian time it was, which was 8:22 a.m. at our house in Maryland. So those were some of the 2/22 energies that were flowing with me during that time on 2/22.
Mm-hmm. Femifestation, that word with you. Femifestation, I love that.
Oh, thank you. Words flow to me, and that is part of my witchiness as well. You know, there are the holistic things that flow through me, but the way I work with words, the way I see letters and patterns, it boggles people. Like when I'm playing Scrabble and words with friends, it's like the letters speak to me. And it's like, that looks like it should be a word. I don't know what the word is, but it should be a word. And let me play with it. And then, it's just so many ways. So I am a word witch, a kitchen witch,
Mhm.
um, definitely a green witch in terms of aromatherapy and things like that. An energy witch as a Reiki master teacher, and massage therapist. So, and intuitive. So, yeah, a lot of witchiness flows through me. So, all of it is wrapped up in eclectic witch.
I was gonna ask if you have the survey that we did last year, because that would be awesome to share with the ladies, because that was so much fun. I definitely found out I'm an eclectic witch as well, with the kitchen witchery, the green witchery, the crystals, the sound healing.
Mm, mm,
All the kitchen chemistry, I feel like I drew through my mama and Tawana, who's on the line, with all the making of the elixirs. It started out in my mind, it was for hair, but it turned out it was much more the nervous leg syndrome. I was like, it did what? It stopped your who, you know?
I love that. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, and so how it unfolds, and I didn't have that word until you, the eclectic, which I was like, oh, well, then, yeah, that's me, because I'm just eclectic, period. I can't, I don't
Mm,
know. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. I don't know if y'all know, but Tawana really, I think, was the beginning of some things that I didn't know, right? Tawana
mm,
Ari. And I think it led to a version of like where Tonya and I co-created one another in each other's lives. Because mine started around the beginning of COVID as well. That
mm.
next shift. Yeah.
See, I didn't even realize that.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
Yes,
synchronicity
I
that was
think
going on.
I think Tawana is the teacher for all of us at this point. She done
Baby.
taught us all, baby. We all up under her teachings.
True,
Stop it.
true story.
Wow. So,
Well, I
Steph, I
just did
sent you
a
that survey just to let you know.
Thank you. We'll
so the
share
survey is it oh, I was about to say, is that something that we'll all be able to
to
get and
partake in. Absolutely.
yeah,
Want,
awesome.
Tanisha, Tanisha, do you want me to drop it in the chat for us?
Yes, please. That please.
All right, let
Yes,
me
yes,
pull it off
yes.
on my WhatsApp real quick,
And
and then
Tanya, the movie for the Gambana ladies, the witches, is it in YouTube? Because I was trying to look for it. Do you know where they're streaming it or where it's showing it?
That's a good question. I know it's been at least 10 years since I've seen it, and I don't know where we got it from when we showed it. I mean, back then, I don't know if we streamed it or if we had like a little DVD of it or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna look and check it out because I
Yeah,
think
check
you
it
can only
out.
find it on YouTube at this point, probably.
I
I was
mean,
Okay.
meaning trying to watch it before this, but I didn't get to it. So hopefully, I'm gonna definitely watch it afterwards.
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
maybe we could do a little resource page, and like you and I can meet maybe after or later this week and do like a little 1-2 pager and send it back to the ladies. That has all
Yes,
that in
that
it.
would be that would be wonderful. That would be
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yes, please.
Awesome.
Um, also, I wanted to, we was talking about sound. Someone said about sound. I think Stephanie did. The significance of sound. Can you explain that? Because on 166, it stated sound is a powerful master that connects us with our higher self and our divinity. So I've been hearing, I've heard of the term sound therapy. So can you break that down for us? Either one of you? Doesn't matter.
Mm. Either one of us
I'll
could, right?
back
But
and forth. You start. You
we can
yeah.
go back and forth because, Stephanie is a sound healer, and as throat chakra shaman, I work with sound and vibration, and do voiceover work and vocal toning and things like that. And we're both, let's just say I'm a fledgling learning to allow light language to flow to me, and Stephanie is reclaiming hers that's been with her for quite some time. So everything is energy,
Mm-hmm.
and sound, it's it's vibrational. We respond to it. If you think about music, it's a universal language. You know that it evokes different things within us. So I always think about that darn commercial from years ago with Sarah McLachlan's song and the little dogs, in the arms of an angel, and trying to get you to dig in your pocket and pay and help these poor little orphan dogs or what have you. So it can evoke that within you, sadness, and it can evoke happiness and joy. You see the different dancers. We know different songs that we respond to that are part of our cultural heritage. You can't go to a family reunion, a cookout, a wedding without different songs coming on. And it's like, that's my joint. And you're getting up. It's like your body, your cells respond to that. And
Mhm.
so we all have different responses to the vibrations that are coming forth from that type of energy and how we take it in. And so it's not just how we take it in through our ears, but we start to feel it throughout our body. Stephanie, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I love how you lay that out too, because I also imagine, like, I mean, again, like I said, going to the hall, like the reconciliation of it all. In the beginning, there was the word, right? And so I imagine the word as sound and vibration. Um, like however we really want to think about that, but then that from which all creation flows. And then I also think about the order of manifestation, like like you get this spark of energy, right, the fire, the initial spark, the Holy Spirit that enters, right? And then from there it got to travel somewhere, and like that initial spark, I imagine, as this electrical thing. That pulse has to go somewhere, so it goes into these waters, these emotional waters, that second layer, right? So it goes from fire, right, into the waters. I imagine those waters to be these primordial waters, so not just like the water that we're turning on in the sink or the splish splashing, but the deep subconscious waters. Now that to me is plasma automatically, right? That which can carry that kind of a charge. From there, it has to then go into the organization center, right? Where do we organize it? In the mind, the intellect, right? So now we're in this cerebral space where it's being ordered. So it has traveled from this feminine energy into this masculine now. And so we're there. And then how do we get there into the 3D? We speak it, we do it. It becomes that in the 3D. So now it has manifest. So if that is the order of operation, then universally, at some point, that consciousness then had to become birth into sound, that vibration that then carries all of it. And so I imagine that being the importance of it. Every molecule, every atom has its own unique signature, its own frequency. And if we have the right technology, sound, we could hear it. So the whole thing is this symphony. And we're not separate from it. We're in it. We're of it. So above, so below, so within, so without, the whole thing. Right. And so spiritually and scientifically and biologically and intellect, like all of it is sound when we break it down.
I want to add something
Mm.
to that, Stephanie, if you were done.
Yeah, I'm complete.
Also, when it comes down to the senses and sound, I just read something because I'm at this school of consciousness now, right? And so sound, in terms of your senses, it's the first sense that you have in your mother's womb, and
Mm,
it's the last to leave you if you're not, deaf, yeah, it's the last to leave you. And
Mm.
interestingly enough, so sound really resonates with me. And you know how you can hear a song that you haven't heard since you were a child, and it plays on the radio. You can smell the things that you heard when you listened to that. You can
mhm,
feel how you felt. You
mhm,
can imagine the space that you were in when you hear it.
mhm.
So sound is really very incredible. And that's why I know we're under attack under so many areas, because this low frequency and
Yeah.
vibrational stuff that our young people especially are taking in, It keeps
Yep.
them down here. It keeps them
Yep.
down
Yeah.
here. There's
Yes.
nothing that hits that heart chakra being produced. Hardly anything. I'm not going to say nothing because there is some good artists out here. It's just that they don't get the exposure. But it's keeping them at this fight or flight. It keeps
Yeah.
them at this really low resonating frequency, and it's hard to tap into that energy and that spirit of love and inspiration and higher thinking and elevation and all of that. So yeah, sound is it's amazing. And I want to add this real quick. Have you heard of the Opus sound bed? I'm not trying to give
The
a plug for
ultrasound?
them.
Oh, what is that?
So it's
Mm-hmm.
this new device that is, they haven't even pumped them out yet, but I so want one so bad. I'm telling you. It is, it's this bed, um, a temporary space that you unroll and lay out, and you put headphones on, eye covers on, and the vibrations from the bed go along with the frequency of the music. So you're totally encapsulated in sound. And
Mm.
everybody in there, you have to look it up on YouTube.
You already know
And
I am, and then I'm gonna bother you.
everybody that everybody that has experienced it, I guess during like their production, their what do you call it? Trial stages, beta stages, whatever. They
Testing.
always say it's like their heart just opened up. It's like they felt something
Mhm.
that they've never experienced before because sound was always very important to them in their lives, and how it was like a total healing experience that they went through. So yeah, I just wanted to add that on you guys, and I agree 100%. And it's so
Yeah.
wonderful to be in an environment with women and with people, period, but especially women with sisters that can see it, can feel it. They know what's going on, and it's like are making moves to help heal us collectively. It is. It warms my heart, gives me goosebumps, and it's like I'm on the verge of tears because it's just so it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love you all.
Oh, we love you too.
Thank you,
Thank
because you have
you.
been such an important part of my story and still are. Yeah, look, I feel 'em. It's all coming up. I feel it here. I feel it. I'm about to cry. This is good.
I wanted to
Mm.
add something to the discussion about how the frequencies travel through the waters and then go to the brain. I wanted to remind everybody that at no point is the heart ever disconnected. And so to really embody your full witchy power, you remember that, with emotional equilibrium, you can just bypass the you can get the knowledge, you can
Okay.
read the energy
Mhm.
before it hits the brain if you don't allow all the programming.
Mhm.
You know.
I appreciate that reminder too, because one of the conversations that kept coming up, not like right before I took a little break from those readings, we restarted this week, but one of the things that kept coming through to the point that both is it Makemba? Yeah, Makemba and Tawana Ari brought up like the intentionality of like this B system, this matrix, this programming or whatever. Um and then again going back how I'm using all the different texts, the principalities having dominion over the air, right? And the air being the intellect, the mind, that space, and how it can get real confusing in that space. But you naming that there is a bypass set there so that we don't even have to
Before,
travel
yeah,
for
before
that.
sound is primordial. Sound is
Yep, that
primordial.
primordial. Yep.
Mhm.
It,
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah. This was
Mm.
so good.
Tanya, I wanted you to enlighten us about the history of Europe in the 1500s, and when it spoke about the book Hammers of Witches.
Mm,
Mhm. So yeah, I talked about this in the foreword in the book, and it was really enlightening for me to find out um, more about, what was the history, because I think for many of us in this country, you know, we may learn quote unquote world history, but mostly a lot of the history we learned is focused in this country. And if we want to know about other histories, other societies, we need to do that on our own or get it in different places, et cetera, et cetera. Got a sneeze coming. Hold on. Excuse me. And my sneezes are very clearing, sometimes for me, sometimes for someone else. So just to let you know, don't know who that sneeze was for. But yeah, it was a time called the Common Era. And that was around the mid 1400s in Europe. And there was so much witch hysteria that was going on. And we know that a lot that is put in place, especially in terms of religion, is all about societal control, right? And so Europe was, they were having witch hunts as a common practice. Um, they were targeting like widows and single women, and other women who were on the margins of society, mainly those who didn't have a man protecting them, so to speak, right? And so in 1486, two German Catholic friars published Malleus Maleficarum, which is translated as the Hammer of Witches. And so it really labeled witchcraft as heresy. And so it was used as a way of flushing out witches or people that they considered witches. And it was used for, more than 100 years. It became more popular than the Bible. It was something that was the go-to. And so between the years 1500 and 1660, up to 80,000 suspected witches were put to death in Europe. 80,000. And, you know, when I think about that, I believe in past lives. I believe that we come here many times, and I know I've been here many, many times, and I know that I've been a witch in past lifetimes, and I know that a number of the women who said yes to the Witch Voices Project have been here as witches, and just thinking about the collective trauma of that, because knowing I've been here as a European woman. I've been here, as a Black woman. I've been here as a man many times, et cetera, et cetera. But with that history and also thinking back ancestrally, um, I you look at me and you know that I have more than African in me, right? And so who knows what has come down through the bloodlines, what's come down through past lives. That collective trauma lives in our society today. It's a part of us. And, it's something that needs to be cleared for us to fully step into our power. And so the book is just one way in which we can start that clearing process by help empowering women to remember, bring those pieces and parts back to themselves that have been lost, forgotten, stripped away, what have you, and reclaim that power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
In your book, you also stated about the Salem witch trials.
Mm-hmm.
Can we discuss that as well?
Yeah, yeah. Many of us have heard of the Salem witch trials because, it's part of our popular culture. You see it in a lot of movies and TV shows and things like that. And so that's the history that many of us go to when we think about witchcraft, right? Because that's what happened here in the Americas. And so the Salem witch trials took place starting in 1692 in Salem, Massachusetts. They've created a whole culture around it now. You know, that's the go-to town because there's a lot of energy that's there.
A lot of
And,
energy.
and I haven't been there. That's one of my go-to. I want to go there. But I am told. Would you say road
We'll
trip?
do it on a sacred short, the short sacred sojourn.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. That will be one of our little
Yeah.
places to go to, a field trip. But basically it started when two girls who were ages 9 and 11. So think about it. Two girls suddenly came down with fits, body contortions, and uncontrolled screaming. Now, if you think about 1692, you think about different diseases back then, different things that were going on, people not knowing medicinally what might be happening. So stands to reason that you might have people catching something and two people going into fits. And so today's body of knowledge tells us it was likely that they were poisoned by a fungus that caused spasms and delusions. But we had the mass hysteria. And so fingers started pointing to women. There were two white women and one black woman, and who was enslaved by the family of one of the two original girls. And so I wanted to make sure to put her name out there, Tituba. Tituba was the enslaved black woman who was accused. And and so if you think about back then, what power do you have when you are enslaved? What power do you have? You know, and she had to have been in this situation where she felt, you know, this happens in present day. How many people have forced confessions out of them in our criminal justice system, right? I'm sure your author next month can speak to that. And so, so in her efforts to survive, she confessed to witchcraft and she named the others as witches. And so, after that, it was approximately 150 people who were executed in Salem, or not executed, but who were accused in Salem. And 18 were executed by hanging, 12 women and 6 men. And then, you know, it started going. Um, you know, and you know, it moved to there were Virginia, there was Maryland, some things that happened. Actually, it had started in Connecticut, but we all hear about Salem, Massachusetts. And so 46 people had been accused and 11 executed by the time that whole legacy of the witch trials took place.
How long did that last? I'm curious.
Yeah, about 50 years.
50 years. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you talk about the history of witch because, you know, people don't know these things, you know?
Right.
So you have to share the knowledge and open it to people so that they'll understand, you know, where we're coming from and how this all originated. It's so important. Um, Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else?
I
Shanika,
love that you gave us. I love that you spoke her name, Tatuba.
Ashe. I was gonna say what really caught my attention about that story and other stories around witches is how it really it fed into this distrust of other women among women with the way that they went about it. And so some of that healing has to do with even how we treat other women, how we trust other women, because they use that as a way to turn us on one another. And they would, of course, make promises. And even if you knew somebody wasn't a witch, you were just trying to save your own family. You were worried about your own family. So you did it out of, that intention, like they talked about with Tatuba. But that's another part of the healing that we need to, when you hear women say, I don't even deal with women, I don't have no women friends, and they say that like a badge of honor, I'm just like, I'm so compassionate to that, because I'm like, you may not even know where that comes from. That could come from a
Shanika,
past life.
Yep.
you were up in my head with that. You were. I was thinking that same thing about all the women who are saying, "I don't even deal with women."
Deal with
It
women.
is like a badge of honor, And what also came up with was that needs to be healed as well. So, I mean, we're definitely healed.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
feel
so funny. Oh, I'm sorry.
going.
It's
I
so
won't.
funny you say that because when you were about to sneeze, I wanted to say shamanic sneeze, but I didn't. And then you said it. I was like, ah, okay.
That's a whole yes. We're in the right crowd. I feel like again it goes back to the war of it all, right? Like that is literally a war tactic. Literally.
Mm,
Playing
And
out.
and and what is the
Understand.
most
Oh, no, go ahead. Go
and
ahead.
what is the most powerful weapon they use is what we were talking about earlier: sound, frequency, energy, the
Energy.
media, repetition of lies, constant repetition.
I say, yep, yep.
mm,
And I think that the shift in tide is being able to recognize it because when we know what we're looking at, right, that's a whole different ball game.
and that shit don't work.
That shit don't work no
We
more.
know.
Exactly. That's right. I see a heart. Yes, exactly. Mm.
I
I
just
have
want to
a
say one
question.
thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Know how you mentioned that a lot of women don't like each other or whatever, but I also want to say sometimes we don't recognize that we feel the most comfortable amongst ourselves. So like I met Tanisha in Tawana's shop, but it was very comfortable, real relaxed. It was a bunch of women, and we were all getting along. She didn't know me from Adam or whatever. Tanisha, Tawana didn't know me from Adam, but you feel real comfortable there. It almost is like an essence and an aura that you feel when you go over to her shop. That's all.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I
See,
wanted
that's
to
some
ask
therapy
a
right there.
question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask Stephanie a question. You used the term I've never heard, but it really gave me goosebumps when you said it. And I want to know more about it. You said you're a spirit writer. So I want to know what
Mm.
you mean by that and how does that gift work in your life?
Okay, that's such a good question because I don't know where I got it from neither. From spirit. That it kind of solidified over the last, I think, 3 or 4 years because my experience is that from as young as I can remember, like I'll just get a really strong urge, almost like I can't even not do it, to grab and write. Like I was infamously famous for writing on napkins and pieces of anything because it would just like come and I'd have to get it out. And it would bypass this. It's not like I had a knowing of it. It's like, I don't know why I'm saying this, which happens. I don't know why I'm writing this. And so it just kind of comes out. And then over time, I realize it's because it's divine in nature. Like it is coming through me. It's not mine. I don't own it. I didn't do it, but it came through me in one way or another for and then fill in the blank. Because sometimes it's for a person, sometimes it's for clarity that I needed to reflect back to myself. Sometimes it's pieces that I won't know for years, but you'll like kind of just write it and then it'll come together 7, 10, 12 years later. I have a book that started in '02. Here we are. I'm finally understanding what that spirit writing was all about. I'm like, oh, this is also a part of this reconciliation of it all that dropped in your spirit. I'm here for the reconciliation. So that's how I sort of interpret even the term spirit writer. And I think it's in my understanding of folks that like channel, it's just a version of that. Mine comes out mostly in writing. Um, yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah,
And
thank
let
you
me
so
say
much.
this about Stephanie. When she said she has been writing all her life, I mean, I think she was like maybe 4 when I first met her mom and her brother. But as a little girl, she always had something with her where she was writing little short stories or little um poems and all that kind of stuff. And then when I remember her her mom and I went to visit her when she was away at college. And she had this bookshelf, right? Like most college students. And she had some academic books and some her little novels and whatever she was reading. And then she just had a whole section that were that were I knew they weren't books because they were like journals. And I said, wow. I said, what are these? These books have no titles. And so she was like, oh, those are my journals. a whole freaking shelf. That's how much she wrote. And I was amazed. She was like, yeah, I just kind of, and it was just so inspiring to me that she just continued that. And she is in her authentic self, just a natural writer, just write to write, just writes to write. And I've always been so impressed and intrigued by that. And I just thought it was amazing gift to have, and that she embraced it so from the time she was a little girl.
I love
Just needed to
that.
add that about Steph.
I laugh
Oh,
because that book, they over there. That's what's fun.
we
They
got 'em.
over
We
there.
got 'em. I do want to add to that because, Stephanie, those of you who are in her group, you know that she is a powerful channel of spirit. And it goes back to, this whole concept of women in tune with conscious healing. Healing comes about in so many ways, but if we don't have that connection with source energy, with our higher self, with our ancestors, our angels, our guides, whomever, the Orisha. I mean, just committing to that, clearing away all the, as the Toltecs would say, the domestication,
Mhm.
socialization, the dogma that tells us that we do need intermediaries or we are merely human, et cetera, et cetera. It puts this separation between us and God, goddess, all there is, whatever you may want to call that energy. And so a lot of the women in this book really have worked to cultivate that connection. Many may have discovered it at a very young age. Others may have come into it at a later age. But yeah, that is something that we can really cultivate. And part of what we did when we were in this process, because it wasn't just people submitting stories and we published the book, it was a whole process. And starting last year, I don't know if it was January of last year or whenever we did, but we started having Monday night sessions. And we started with a session on automatic writing where the authors came in and they went into meditation and we were learning to connect in, so they were getting past the head and they were just writing to
Mhm.
see what came forth to help
Mhm.
spark, because there were a lot of blocks for
Wow.
people when it
Yeah.
came to this book and they were not expecting it. They said yes and thought, okay, I'll be able to write a story. And it took months and months and months for some to get to that point. And there were some who dropped out
Mhm.
because, like, this is too much is coming up for me. And
Mhm.
so that automatic writing process helped open the door for many of them to get past the head, to get to the heart, to get to the connection of the higher self and to spirit, to know what they were going to write.
Yeah, because you really had to go within to write this book. Like you had to go deep. It wasn't just, oh, I'm just going to write this. No, from the stories, there are 33 authors in this book. It's an anthology book. So it's 33 writers telling their whole personal stories, and how they became witches and how they knew and what they've been through in their life. I mean, these are really some sacred stories, that people were talking about. Some haven't talked about them in years. And I'm sure, like you said, it brought back up a lot of past things that has happened. And yeah, you really had to go deep.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
And
think,
I'm really,
oh no,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Steph.
No, I think it speaks to the power of you as a container holder and a sacred space builder, and like there are so many components of Tanya, but to be able to create and hold a space like that for the kind of healing that was occurring in real time, each one of those Monday nights that we got together, it wasn't for an hour. It was usually like what, 2.5 hours, right? And we'd be in that space and to be witness to what was coming up, and then the way in which Tanya would capture and hold a woman in that space and then help kind of do this and help her tease it out and then come back to equilibrium was so powerful. And I imagined a version of like a doula and like a birth process. I also imagine a triage and what happens in when you are trying to piece together some serious trauma has occurred, and right. And I got to witness that every time we were in spaces together. And to your point, Tanisha, it was not a small thing. It was such a sacred and beautiful place. And then to have the knowing that then we were going to release it to a world that who knew what it would then do with it.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if some of the members knew or not, but I said it in the beginning that this is their 1 year anniversary this month. I'm not sure what day it is, but I know this month is their 1 year anniversary. So the book, we're actually celebrating right about now, and I'm so glad we got her on. She took time to come out with us, you know what I mean? And she had another event and she told me, oh, she don't have to go. I said, oh, you mean we got her to ourselves? Oh, baby, you should have told us that, baby. We finna take up all your little time. Ask you a million questions. I know I got a whole lot.
This is my favorite thing, being in community with like-minded, light-minded, like-hearted people, especially women. We're so powerful when we're together. Stephanie knows this. I will throw out an African proverb in a heartbeat, and one of my favorite, when spider webs unite, they can bind up a lion.
Of a lion.
Hunty, what would happen if we all got together and unified and collaborated? I mean, what happened? So
that's why that goes back to that question from that's why they say, oh no, get these women away from each other.
Exactly.
That they're crazy and that they're this and that. I mean, talk about narcissistic. We got gas lit the F up for centuries.
Yes.
For that reason.
You all talked about a sacred space. It is so important to have a sacred space that you can go to and talk to women and be able to share your inner thoughts, and have them share their stories. I mean, this is what this is. It's a book club, but it's also a sacred space. I mean, these women have shared a lot of things, and shared them with the world as well. So it's very important. And a lot of women don't know that, they so don't want to share nothing with nobody. I'm not going to tell nobody nothing. I'm keeping everything to myself. I don't think that's the right way to go. You know what I mean? I mean, you have to talk to somebody. And if you don't, at least have one person, somebody that you can release your feelings and things that's going on with you. I don't think people realize the importance of that. You need to have a sacred space, So yeah, this is not like I said, the world we live in now. Everybody is so shunned. They want to talk to this person. They want to talk. Hey, it really it's actually healing.
Yeah.
It's really healing. That's all it is.
I wanted to read just speak to what you said about what kind of world we have. A beautiful new one is what we have. What we have. If we were able to, with this type of energy and the connections that we've cultivated,
it's happening.
It would. Yeah. I accept that, Ms.
Loading.
It is. And I was going to say that because Shanika and I were just talking about recently about how different things are because of this new age of Aquarius and stuff like that. Ooh, and excuse the blue teeth. I just had my blueberry.
We can't see it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just your throat chakra. That's all.
I just had my my blueberry smoothie bowl. But yeah, so I'm loving this, and yeah, thank you all again because it is needed. It is needed, and it's something that it's time for it to start happening, and we're femifesting it because I'm not using the M word for that anymore.
Testing it.
We're femifesting it, honey.
And every time you hear me say manifest, remind me as I shift.
I'm writing it down right now on a sticky so I'll remember.
Femifesting. Heard it. My body is pulsating so much right now. There's so much power in this room. Y'all are very powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So with that said, I want to just put this out there for you, Tonya, and you, Stephanie. I have an elder who just she just filmed and is about to premiere a movie for the first time, and it's called Spiritual Gifts. And it's all about people. Yeah, she used to live in LA. She was, I don't know, in acting or whatever, and she got picked for a movie because she has a lot of powerful gifts. And the movie got scrapped. And she said, you know what? This is like 30 years ago. She's like, I'm gonna make this movie, and so she finally did, and she's premiering it January 11th. And I want you guys to connect to her so bad. Like my spirit is saying this would be a powerful connection.
Yes, please.
Ooh,
And
I got
one,
chills.
yes, please. I got them everywhere. I got them up and down
Yeah,
my calves.
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.
Mm.
One other thing I have to say that Tonya did throughout the process, yes, held this space and these stories were coming through and healing was happening. I think the other thing that I got to witness was the leveling up of people's gifts. It was as if like people were tapping into new parts of themselves. It was open, it was a way maker kind of journey that we went on with Tonya at the helm of it. Like, we doing this. And so you saw our people like tapping into things they didn't know was there, both in the spiritual realm, but then in our 3D reality, like people created new like jobs and stuff. She pulled publishing out of me. I didn't start writing to be a publisher, and she was like, so I'm gonna ask you for the third time, real lovingly. For the third time, because spirit, she put those keys together for me, and I was like, okay, I can't say no. We in a three energy, spirit. Mama's in the room. Tanya gives mama often, and sister, cousin, auntie, but mama comes through when I can't say no to a thing. Her whole face even looks like my mom. I'll be like,
Mm.
right. And so she did that not just with me. I'm talking 33 women left new.
Mm. Mm.
And I can say that with earnesty. I know that to be a fact, Tanya. So please
Mm.
receive that.
I received that. Thank you, sis. I want you to speak to that publishing piece because that jazzes me so much. To me, it was a no-brainer. It's like, I think it started with, have you thought about doing any publishing?
No. Why would I do that? I'm thinking about publishing houses, right? I was like, wow. Now, why would I start that at 43? Right? Why would I do that, Tanya? That's crazy.
And now, where are you? Please let them know where you are because I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, sis. I have 4 book clients right now in the pipe, and we're looking at our next, obviously, our Sacred 22 for the next book is coming out, and there are a few slots left, right?
I think 2 now.
2 slots. So ladies, if you're looking, there are 2 slots left for this Sacred 22. We'll make sure to drop the call for submissions in. But yeah, so then that's up to 5 book clients. And my route obviously is the self-publishing route. So I like think of myself as like a doula. I like this publisher term. I haven't settled completely into it in my soul, but I'm going with it. It's a leg of Freedom Tour. Freedom Tour Publishing is a thing now. And a NIM, one of your lovely wives, created a beautiful logo for me specifically for that leg of Freedom Tour, the bigger company. But I can't in a year. Yeah, I got 5 clients, y'all. That's crazy. I didn't even think about it. Tanya, thank you. I would have never thought it. That was Tanya. That was Tanya saying, I see this. What we doing? And I was like, you know.
Girl, that was spirit.
And
That
then
was spirit.
finally, I was like, I accept. Yes. Yes. And
I
thank you.
noticed I noticed that some people in the book, a lot of the women talked about when they knew they became a witch. So I wanted to know, can both of you all share that experience? When did you know? Because I'm sure people wonder, like, how did they know? When did you know? How? You know?
Mhm.
Mm.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I don't.
You go ahead and start.
Uh, okay, so when did I know? Like no. It was in the midst of a really terrible divorce, to be honest. Like there were these indicators my whole life, but it wasn't until the looking back that I went, oh, that's what all that was for all these years and da, 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 da. But like literally I was in the I was in the midst of the hard part of a not so great divorce. Um and by then, well, let me back out of it a little bit. I got sort of forced in the best ways, forced to be okay with witchiness, period, around me because I was not at all. But the way spirit did it was the only way it would work for me. And that was through my students because I am never going to shut a child down. What you believe is there's always room for it with me. That being the case, my first little witchy students came through and they want to share their tarot cards and they want to share their that. Everything in me is freaking the F out like, oh my God, this is demonized. Oh my God, 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 right? But I'm taking students to Rochester, to Buffalo on these trips. So I can't get away from it. It's not just during the day where this is what they want to talk about at night. So I'm listening and talking and kind of being like, oh my God. So these little ways sort of soften me to be more open, right? So this is going on for quite a few years. I'm meeting young people that are, into things. Um, my daughter Naya, which Tonya knows, she's my moral adoption baby. I've not birthed a child, but Naya was one of my students and has become my child. She was like, "Mama, you witchy. I hope you know that." That was about 2015. And I was like, I think she might be right. Fast forward 2019, I got Sage and all this stuff anyway, because Mama had gotten into things when we were going to the African village by way of Pastor Hagen's back in the day. And so it wasn't that it wasn't there, but I'm doing all this. So I went for a weekend. I won't say too much about the weekend, but I went for a weekend with my ex-wife and some things occurred, some things came out, some harshness was thrown back and forth, but I got sent home with some clothes that were not mine. And I went to Sage them. Child, Sage smokes, right? That thing was on fire.
Mm.
I cannot make it up. And because when things like that happen, you're gonna either be able to quantify it or qualify it, right? You're gonna have a witness and the qualifier. I was on my WhatsApp with my sis Tyler, and so she watched it. She said, "Girl, is that sage burning like that up to the wait?" And I went, hold on. And I said something and it went, and I was like, did I do that? And then I tried it again. And I said, okay, I got some learning to do. And that was the beginning of it. And that was about 2019. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was no ignoring it that could happen at this
And
point.
that's so
I mean, I
interesting,
guess I
Stephanie.
could have, but that would have been probably dangerous for me to do. And then that opened up a whole journey that I don't know how much of it I can tell just yet because some things are sacred and between you and spirit and so I'm still sorting that out, but a lot has happened since then.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting, Stephanie, because I always thought you knew you were.
No, I didn't.
I mean, we never had the conversation, but so much about the things that, you did, what you were attracted to, just your energy, just all of that. So, yeah, that is so interesting that,
So, Juana, I'm trying to get out of the habit of not saying, I don't speak a lot of things that I think are so obvious. Like we don't
mhm,
state what we think is already known.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
sometimes I'll just say it offhand and people are like, this is mind blowing. I'm like, oh, you
Hmm.
didn't know?
didn't know.
I mean,
When she said 2019, I was
I
like,
feel the
what?
same way about Stephanie. I'm like, you didn't know? You been one.
You
What
didn't
mean?
know?
2019. Girl, back.
I did not. Those are not the words I would have been using.
everybody knew but you, huh?
Everybody knew but me.
Oh my-
And interestingly, there was a guy who asked me maybe a year ago, and I realized I was still squirmish about the title a year ago. And here I am publishing a book, and I'm still squirmish about it. He said, I just got to ask you, are you a witch? Because I've had some interesting experiences. And I was like, am I a witch? Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Tonya,
I guess I'll say it. We didn't think that. Well, I didn't think you was a witch, but the meaning of the word witch is who you've always been. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. I didn't know I was a witch because I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
That is that. Yeah, but the meaning, you've always been that.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
tell
For
people
sure.
if they're that are trying to figure out who they are and all of this, or what their purpose is, I'm like, the community already knows. What does everybody call you for? Every time somebody want to learn how to, like, whatever your thing is, you do something great. Every time somebody's struggling with something, you have a pattern. People always call you for what reason? That's your purpose.
Mm.
That's good, Michaela. You're right.
That's real good.
That
Mm.
is.
Yeah. It's very simple. Like if you made a great pan of mac and cheese, then everybody who tasted it is going to call you to find out how to, if everybody keeps calling you to ask you what you put in your mac and cheese. So that's a micro version of your purpose. Like, every time somebody's sad or, I don't know, want to know how to manage their money, they call this person. Every time they want to know this, yeah.
That person.
Mm.
Are you in Chicago too?
I am.
I want to meet you when I come home, please. Like, I feel
Well,
like
I want to meet you too, my love.
I feel myself just hugging you and it being home.
Oh,
And
let me tell you why you want to meet. Let me tell you why you want me to tell you why you want to meet me.
Yes, please.
Because you and your people, your entourage, your spiritual entourage, you and Tonya's spiritual entourage harassed me. I did not harass me and made me come on this damn meeting today. And then they want to add more fuel to the fire and tell you to come meet me. They messing with me. You don't understand. They messing with me. It's a good way. It's always good,
I can tell.
I love it. I
Yes.
love
And the
it.
next time you come to town, Steph, we'll have to have, because we have sister gatherings all the time. And the last one we had was because around my injury, and one of the sisters putting it in the group, Hattie, Hattie, she was in town, and she was like, we have to get together and we have to come and give Tawana some love, and we need to cook for her. And
Wait a
and I
minute.
went for her. I went to be altruistic, but it turned out to be a retreat. I felt like I had spent. I received. I went to give, but I received in a big way.
Now, are we talking Hattie McCutcheon?
Yes. Yes.
And you know her too. Look at the world. But that's how I felt when I found out Lolita and Tawana knew each other. I was like, wait a minute. Lo, how do you know my sister? And she said, yo, sister, I thought you had only 5 brothers. I was like, yeah, but you know my sister. How you know Tawana? I've known her literally, basically since I've been on the earth. How do you know her? I met Lolita, she living in Oakland, Look at Spirit, like I'm lining y'all up because I gotta have girls doing what they doing, right? I got chills again. And of course, Hattie, Tonya. Wow.
Hattie, well, we were part of Lolita's Project Generous Heart. And that's how I met Hattie. And Hattie was going to be one of the Sacred 33, but she said it's too much right now. But she told me, she says, all right, I'll be ready for the next one. She is part of the Sacred 22 for 2025.
Wow, look at that.
I got chill bumps.
They just came in a wave over me. Oh my gosh.
And it's funny because when she was here, she was talking about that. She said, yeah, she was like, my sister, she wanted me to do. She's like, but sis, it was just so, I said, ooh, I can't do it. I ain't ready. And I don't want to do a disservice to it. It's just, man, I want to take my time.
That's
man.
how you know you're being harassed. That's how you know you're being harassed. She it's bothering her that she didn't do it. You see what I'm saying?
But she didn't give a name because was that I think that's when I was at your house, Tawana. She didn't give a
Yes,
name, so
she
we
sure
didn't
did
know
not.
it was you.
She
You didn't
sure
know.
didn't.
My goodness. Look at that.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Don't mess. The
No.
Yeah.
spirit world is in charge. You can't get away. See
Yes.
what I'm saying? It's coming for her.
Yes.
It's gonna
I was
happen.
Yes.
pleasantly surprised and not surprised to see just about my whole inside circle on here this morning. My whole circle. And so I
They
just,
just growing a coven. They come on, circle up.
it's like a magnetic thing that was occurring. And so, yes, I'm
And
so
The
happy.
coven, y'all. The coven. I
And I
love it.
just want to say, we're not growing it. We're just reuniting.
We're reuniting.
Started this in the past life.
That part.
Oh my God, they're
Part.
everywhere. They're everywhere. So we did this a few lifetimes, huh? Hey y'all, good to see you again. Good to be with you.
Because we're
my
in
Yeah,
a group. We're in
Tanika
a
let us
group.
know that a long time ago that
That said, when
we
you
had.
were in Chicago, that you wanted to get together with Makimba. Who said that? Okay. Where? Yeah. So I want to, I'm still unpacking, but once I'm done, I want to like have a meeting over here. So yes, I want that to be like one of my little gatherings of many to come. But I have to finish unpacking first. So I don't know when you're coming back to Chicago next.
Tonya, let's put this in the sojourns too. Let's put it on the list because I think it's important. And I think we need to get at least 4 days on that calendar so that
Okay.
so it's not like we gotta be in this energy. Let's collaborate and look at our calendars, please.
Well, if
Okay.
Pepsi's not ready, we'll be at Tawana's house.
Exactly. You already know. If you know, you know.
I'm sleeping.
And two of our witch sisters are in Chicago. Hattie often comes and hangs out or stays with Rowea. I don't know if you know Rowea Amazing. She's a hairdresser. Tawana is like, yes, okay. And Lonika, yes. So
What did she do last night? Which was the she was the root chakra, wasn't she? Yeah, yeah. She did our root chakra offering last night. They were just all so powerful.
I mean, have you partaken in the energy at Tawana's house yet?
Not since coming back, no. Look, okay.
Well, she's
Ooh.
been to my house a lot, but not since I've been here. Not since I've been back home.
Back home.
Yeah.
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 Because home prior and home.
Yeah.
but is it the house or is it Tawana who opens up that vortex?
It's the
It's
Tawana
her energy and the common and her mother's energy.
and her mother's energy.
Her
Her
mother.
mother is still there in a most powerful, wonderful way, and it's yeah, it's a great space.
Beautiful.
I look forward to it. Oh, sis,
Is
look at that.
Rowea the one with the daughter who does the belly dancing, or am I getting her confused with someone else?
Her daughter is in high school this year, so
No. I'm thinking of a grown woman.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, Rowea is the sister that does the vegan catering too. Remember, Shanika, I was telling you about her. She makes when she say amazing food.
Yeah.
Eat your hand off,
Picture
girl.
her.
I'm trying to find her right now. I got you.
Because we're also in a group called Sister Circle with Hattie. So that's how we've known her. At least I've known her through the group and all that. But yeah, so I'm going to share the book with them after we get online.
Shanika, look
I wanted the book club to read the book first.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Rowea.
Oh yeah, she do look familiar.
Yeah, that's her.
You look familiar.
Okay. We got off course a little bit. I wanted to go back to Tonya. I didn't forget. Oh no, I didn't forget you, baby.
No,
I didn't forget.
It was a beautiful journey, I thought. And as Stephanie was talking and you all were responding to her, I think there are times when we know, but before then we may be a little clueless. So I mean, I was one of those children of alcoholics that were like the little professor. And so I held on to being smart. That was my thing. So I always thought in my career, I was just smart. As a therapist, I was smart. I wasn't recognizing my connection to spirit and what I would receive as a very young therapist. Um, and then when I started getting into um, energy work and things like that, I became attuned to Reiki in 2005. And that's when I officially had my third eye. I could recognize it opening up. It was like, this is interesting. And I started cultivating that as part of a metaphysical community. So I started seeing it. And I would just, use the term woo woo. But when I started writing my book, Diary of a Witch's Daughter, which Spirit gave me the title or gave me the acronym WITCH during that book, was around 2008, 2009. And I realized that I'm writing this book. It's a fiction book. It's about a teenage girl and her mother. And I am both this girl and her mother. And one of my partners who came into my life at the time, I realized, oh my gosh, I drew to me this character's mother, another version of myself, because one of my real intuitive friends said, your next partner, she's going to be like you. She's going to be, because, the other one certainly wasn't. And so I started to see these different gifts. It's like, and I had this retroactive type of, you say hindsight is 2020. I started to look back at my cooking, being a kitchen witch, and the feelings that people would have when they ate my food, and how I would be able to alchemize food, talk about fishes and loaves. I could just take this little bit and create these grand feasts with it. And so just seeing down the line where these things happen. But when I was attuned to Reiki, I started really leaning further in um, and started owning that shamanic aspect of myself, which I had. When was that? 1997, 2001, 2007. 2007 is when I first started delving into shamanic studies. And I started seeing this interplay with spirit in a powerful way. But I did not own that term witch until 2022. I would play with it. And I would lean into the acronym aspect of it. Oh, I'm a woman in tune with conscious healing, and wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And so it's now that I can own being the capitalized witch, but also the lowercase witch. And so that came about through that book. That clearing happened for me because I can hide in plain sight. Everybody thinks they know Tonya, Mama T, Reverend Tonya, whatever, however that Professor Parker, but there were parts of myself I was hiding from and hiding. And so now it's really big for me to say, yeah, I'm a witch.
Feels good.
I dropped it in the chat if y'all want to check it out. The Diary of a Witch's Daughter.
In my opinion, witch is just a natural, healthy woman. That's our natural way of being. Healing is getting rid of whatever stands between you and your natural way of functioning.
Ashe. That resonated as a big, bold yes, as you were saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's our natural way of being, which we have gotten so separated from over the centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of the reclamation that's taking place.
Yep. Yep. Mm.
That's what a woman is. That's our natural role.
I wanted you all to talk a little bit about conscious healing.
Why don't you
people have heard of healing, of course, but they haven't heard of the term conscious healing.
Yeah. So, when Spirit gave me that term, what came up for me was one, you know that it's taken place. You know, there's that level of not being unconscious, but conscious about it. But also, what are the means we're using for the healing? We're leaning into Earth Mother for the healing and using the natural resources that are out there. We're leaning into spirit. We're leaning into our own higher self, higher power, our internal ability to heal, to regenerate, and all of that. So, you know, not that I'm anti allopathic medicine, it has its place, but we have gotten so far away from the natural ways of healing and just consciously cultivating that. You know, what are we eating? What are we putting on our skin? What are we brushing our teeth with? What kind of water are we drinking? What are we breathing in? What fabrics do we have on? So all of these things play a role in that. And many of us are not aware. You know, it's not just, you know, taking herbs and supplements and things like that, getting massages, acupuncture. I do all that too. I do all that too. Yeah. It's also looking at all aspects of my environment and how am I serving myself and my highest way of being. And I'm not always perfect with it because something that has stood in the way, this is a whole nother conversation, has been this whole energy of lack. It's like, who can afford all those supplements? Who can afford to, you know, get these types of products that don't have the phthalates and the, you know, lauryl sulfate, all the things in it, all the things. Um, who can buy organic all the time. One thing I do know is that, hey, you were attuned to Reiki for a reason. So I am always shifting energy of things, always shifting the energy of things. So even if I'm not eating organic, I am shifting the energy of that food.
That's right.
And having it serve me. So
Mhm.
you got to watch me because I'll go off on some tangents from one original question. So, and then forget, what was the original question? That's my air sign coming up, y'all. Yeah, conscious healing. Stephanie, you wanted to add to it?
No, really, I feel like you captured it as being present and intentional. I think like those are the two things for me. Like it is real simple. Being present with what is and being intentional about what you're doing with it, how we're moving through it, how we're translating it.
Yeah. It's really understanding energy, isn't it?
Energy, yeah. I wouldn't.
It's
And
mind, body, and spirit. You know, it's all three, you know.
that Trinity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And being in alignment with that, with whatever direction you're moving through it. Yeah.
Any other sisters have anything to share? Questions, anything? I have another question. Do you all host sacred retreats?
Great.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
give us information or, you know, because that way
Yeah.
we can definitely join in
And I dropped the booklet in there too, so y'all can stay more deeply connected with us. And at the end, it's funny because there's the coming soon with the sacred sojourns that are like the short trips we were talking about, but they already got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like I said, we.
I know you're part of us now. So we have my partners and I have sacred sojourns. And so part of my company, my business, my ministry is mind, body, and soul food. And so part of my juju, I'll say my magic is Reiki retreats, restoration, and writing. And so the retreats, we have week-long retreats. We have our signature Sacred Sojourn to Sedona, Arizona. This will be our 8th year.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so we go there in August. And this will be our last one in Sedona for a little bit as we explore other places, but we do weekend retreats. I partner with a number of people to do retreats and events and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have a Kundalini Rising retreat, which is focused on plant medicine. My partner, Reverend Nim, tends to take the lead in that because that is her wheelhouse. You know, we have our Breaking Through Barriers to Blossom Your Book retreat. My partner Lolita and we take the lead on that. That's in the Dominican Republic in the spring. And so yeah, we're looking to partner to do a number of retreats. You know, we're looking at everywhere. It's like we have our wish list. And then we have people who are set up, like in Mexico, Joy, who has assisted us with the retreats. You know, she's like, all right, I'm just moving to Mexico. And so
and did Joy did.
and it's like, okay, let's start talking about doing some retreats here and all of that. We are able to do solo sojourns if people want to be able to get away and just have an experience totally tailored for them. We can do that. And we also support people in planning their retreats, sourcing their retreats. So if they need facilitators, if they need healers, if they need chefs, because I've been a retreat chef as well. I've done massage and Reiki at retreats, you know, the whole gamut. So that's, yeah, we do retreats. That's the long answer.
All right, all right, all right. So we're going to wrap up today. We've had a long discussion. It was a great discussion. One more time, anybody have anything else before we close out?
I do. I
Yeah.
just want to, real quick, Tonya, I would love to talk about the possibilities of partnering with you guys for a retreat because I'm among other things, a comedic yoga instructor. So yeah, so like I said, among other things, I'm in school also
We
to
look
build life
forward
and
to
wealth.
you getting here.
Yeah. I smell the collaboration. It's so I'm like, oh yeah, I see some cross-pollination and some
Yeah,
expansion for everybody in
yeah,
the room for saying yes
yeah,
to your yeses. I already feel it. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, we're answering some
awesome.
calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
If
as
y'all are
well.
interested, I think I'm gonna do a one last breathe event for the year next week. Usually it's about an hour and a half online. And
What was
I
that?
feel it's called Breathe. They got birthed during 2020 COVID stuff. And it really initially was just a space for us to be able to show up. It was just a sacred space for us to be and to talk
Mm,
with one another because
mm,
the world was like, what is happening? And
mm,
I was like, well, what can I do? Was my question. And Spirit said, get online and hold this space for people. And that was
mm,
really all it was. So the Black Girl Collective got birthed out of that. So I would do series with 6 women in particular, and we would curate a series. And then Breathe was the in between. It was like this week was this, Breathe was that way. Black Girl Collective,
gotcha.
Breathe. Black Girl Collective,
Mm,
Breathe. And so Breathe is a community space for us to breathe with one another. And usually I don't even plan it. I wait for Spirit to tell me what the question is, and then I go with it. And then we commune. And then of course, because I'm a writer, there's a spirit right that's included. We'll be like, all right, this is the Ingest 5, y'all. So for 5 minutes, I'm gonna turn on this lo-fi. We're gonna get it out, and then you're invited to share. And then we close it out. So
mm.
yeah, I'll make sure to get that to you, Tanisha, so you can send it for whoever wants to come. I'm gonna sit with Spirit. It usually is in the evening. Is there a day or time that would work best for y'all?
For me, before like before 2 p.m. or after 7 p.m. or later.
Okay. Okay.
and I was
I
just
work
gonna say I
I
prefer
work from Tuesday.
weekends. Oh.
Okay. And
What
then
was that?
I just wanted to say the best time is weekends, but if it's at the end of the year, I'll be off because of the holidays, but normally weekends.
so I'm leaning
Oh
towards.
yeah.
And
Okay.
anybody else?
Yeah, I'm flexible. It's cool.
I have a question for Tanya. You say that you do voice makeovers. What exactly is that?
Oh no,
Voice,
voiceover. I do
voice.
voiceover acting, trainings, things like that. So
Okay.
mhm.
Renaissance
I
woman for real.
I don't do like impressions and special voices, but I tend to do trainings and books. I will read your
Oh,
nonfiction book any day. You know, I just don't like to get into some of the fictions because they want character voices, and like I ain't doing no character. It's
that
not me.
sounds like fun.
I was gonna say, and the telephone thing.
Oh,
See,
900.
oh.
I thought
Is that
about
still a
it.
thing?
That's witch work too. Hey, that's that high priestess sacral work there.
Hey,
Kundalini arising work.
I keep saying it's like I should do that. I should do
yeah,
that.
Tonya, I agree. Have you listened to you? Love you. Don't strangle me. Just hug me out.
So yeah, we'll have to correlate a time and schedule for whatever we're going to do and figure it out, at a later date. But I wanted to leave the people with two things, and I also want you all to share your information before we end the discussion today. On page 65, there was just a small little thing that I wanted to talk about and want to leave people with. It's speak yourself into being.
Mhm.
That was very powerful. Speak yourself into being. And also on page 180, they say, we are not here to have a spiritual experience. We are souls having a human experience. So I just wanted to leave the people with those.
What page
To,
was that last one?
180. 180.
Yeah.
And Tonya, I wanted you to tell the people when your next book would possibly be released, or if you have a name, or just so we can know when it's coming. I know next year, but around what time or what month?
Well, first I will say last week I just released a revised version of my book from 2017. So that came out of the blue. Let's just say Spirit did that. So that book is ABC Your Way from Danger to Opportunity, Spiritual Activism in Changing Times. And that has been a Kindle book. I revised, updated, put some resources in it, and it's now in print. So I'm really proud about that. That book was calling forth to do that. The second volume of Witch Voices, we're aiming for the winter solstice again. So I haven't looked to see what the winter solstice date is because they change now. And often it's December 21st, like last year and like this year. And it may shift, but that's what we're aiming for it to be.
Wow, we met each other during the winter solstice.
Look at that. I just dropped those in there. Tonya, just have a look to make sure I didn't leave any out. I think I put all of the books now of yours in there.
Such a publisher.
Thank you.
She's just all over it. Mm-hmm.
She is amazing. Okay.
Both of them are
The
Renaissance
publisher
women.
is on it.
I'm like this. I gotta put my boo on. I'm like, check her out. Check her out. Check her
Is
out.
on it. And if you look at that beautiful program, Stephanie downplayed what she does too. When I'm telling you that graphic artist aspect of her, it's like I've worked with her on what, 3 projects now?
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know, with the graphic stuff, what she did with that program, that little, flat, one-dimensional, two-dimensional program I had done, and how she brought it to life. She breathed life into it and turned into something amazing. It has all the links, all the everything, and how you can get in touch with us and find out more about what we're up to, et cetera, et cetera. So just wanted to alert you to that. It's called the WBI 2025 program. And so,
Well, thank you, Tanisha, so much.
Is there still spots open for this 2025 program, or is it like a location? I mean, are we like able to go, or is it already full?
oh, for Sedona?
Yeah.
Oh, we have spots available, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And it's when?
I'll be there.
It's
Yeah,
when?
so it is Lionsgate. So 8/8 to
Oh.
8/15.
And it's gonna
You
be
know, we always working with energy, y'all.
baby.
Then they have
Oh.
um
Okay, y'all, let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Shanika,
I'm
Makimba, let's
already. I'm
Pepsi.
already.
Let's get at it.
It's
We
I'm
gotta have
already
us a Zoom.
manifesting it.
It's
Manifesting.
Do
Film
you,
Festival.
do you
I
have a link for that there? Because I don't see my Sedona link. I knew I had sent it to Tracy and Tyler, but I don't see it. Do you have it? We could drop it in real quick.
Mhm. And you know what happens when I'm on Zoom and I go off to another page, my computer starts. So I'm just gonna send it to you.
Oh yeah, send it to me and then I'll send it to me on
Right.
WhatsApp, please. Yeah,
Okay.
got us. I
Y'all,
would love
I
to
actually
see y'all
have a note that is called go to links.
go to links. That's
Okay.
that's real.
Just so I can quickly get to different links and give them out. So I'm gonna drop that with Stephanie. And thank you all for your patience. You all have been amazing.
Real. So much
Oh
love.
my gosh. Y'all are our people.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Tribe.
Tribe.
Love it. I
We
love it.
definitely gonna stay connected, of course. We are
Mm.
definitely gonna stay connected. Stephanie, can you tell the people where they can find you at on social media?
Steph be good. No, Steph B. I changed it. Steph B. You today. STEPHU #2 DAE. Instagram, I think is the easiest. But then from there, you can get to both of my websites. Freedom Tours, the one that houses the publishing, the poetry, and all of the Breathe events, all of those kinds of events. And then Kitchen Chemistry is the older company, but that is where I have my oils, my creams, my like all of the natural products for your body. And I put it in my hair, so does Tracy. Like it's for all over. And that directly goes back to being in the space with Twana and my mama. Like I know that that's that channeling through. So you can get that kind of stuff. But I have some witchy stuff over there too. Like I have access to like your sage and Palo Santo, some elixirs, some stones, some self-love rituals and things like that are also in the kitchen chemistry space. I'll drop them both in here. I'm bugging. Let me just do that. Oh, I see it,
How's
Tanya.
the laugh? I put your oil on my, I was about to say in my hair too, on my scalp too, girl.
I love that. So there's the sacred sojourns for Tanya, and then I'm gonna open this book. That'll be the easiest. I'm gonna open up this book and just copy the links from there for mine. I'm getting better about that. I have to self-disclose that being seen is still something that I'm working at really
Mm.
well cultivating spaces for other people to be seen, and I so love doing that. But I'm understanding that I'm being called to be seen as well, and that's one that I am still working.
So relatable.
Right. I had I guess a healthy, not so healthy case of imposter syndrome that has held me captive, and I've finally broken up with it.
Ashe.
Right. Here you go. I just copied it. So there you go.
And we want you to be seen because we know how fabulous you are. Oh my gosh.
And I do have a small community that I do on WhatsApp where they get basically daily readings, and it's a love offering. There's no cost to that. If you're interested, pop in the space. If you're not interested in being in the WhatsApp one, I have an unlisted YouTube where I post all of them. It's unlisted because I don't want everybody dancing around in my energy, but it is more than private, if that makes sense. I trust the people that I trust to then, if there are people they're like, oh, I want to give this to them also, then I'm cool with that. Tawana, would you believe Kenny in there? And he then gave it to a few of his trucker partners. That blew my mind. I was like, my brother
Wow.
here listening to readings and he then gave it to a couple of his buddies. Oh, that's wild. Yes.
Yes.
So
Stephanie, you could send me the WhatsApp.
I got you. And then
Yeah,
you can send it in our group if you like. And so that
yes.
is an invitation, whoever it feels called, then come on in the building.
Can you
Um,
send it to me too, please?
absolutely.
Are you gonna put all this information in our stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it keeps all the
I'm
information that she puts in
yeah.
the chat.
I'm
So,
trusting Kanisha gonna pass all this good stuff on to us.
And that's what
oh yeah.
I'll make sure to get that to you. I was
While
looking
you're typing, I have a plug. Even I don't know if she's in the background, but I had Sidea get on this call because as soon as I jumped on, and once I saw what direction the conversation was going, and there was like some
Oh.
key
Yeah,
words
she's
that
on. She's
yeah,
on. She just
it
on
was
mute and her video is off, but she's here.
okay. We did a solstice meditation last night. We've been doing this for a decade plus. Anyway, as soon as I heard some keywords, I'm like, let me jump over here, send her this link. She needs to be on here. So
Oh, there
she's
she
on.
is.
There she is. So I just want to plug real quick because I believe in plugging people who show up for us. And when I say us as the collective one, right? And so I had a first of all, she's just been some of everything to me in the past year plus with helping me with Auntie JoJo. My aunt who has Parkinson's, she's 80, and she and all her parts be having us like rolling around. But I dropped a knife on my foot about ago, and I was in the kitchen and it just fell off the counter onto my foot, not the pointy side but the wooden handle side, and it hit in a place that was, I guess, a nerve, like right above the arch and like kind of on the inside side, sort of between the top and the side, and it hurt really bad for about 60 seconds and then it went completely away. Like I felt no pain and I went on with the rest of the day. She and I took Auntie JoJo to her doctor appointment. She canceled her schedule for me and we just hung out that morning, did the doctor's office, went to lunch. I was fine. Hours went by, like multiple hours went by. After lunch, I went to stand up and then I could feel my foot. And then over the course of probably, I say the next half hour, I went from being able to walk around to having some soreness to literally not being able to walk. I was dragging that thing like, I mean, I couldn't bend my toes. I could not bend my ankle. The whole foot was just gone. I had to sit in the back seat of her car and let her drive and like lift and elevate my foot because it was throbbing so bad. I was able to make it up back to the apartment and she like worked some magic. She soaked it in ice for an hour. I went, took a shower. She soaked it again. She had us, we stopped at to get something that had some copper in it, something with some alcohol and some peroxide, whatever she did, whatever concoction she created, I was able to then at least limp around the house. Do you know that when I woke up the next morning, I felt nothing. I was like jumping up and down on it. I was wiggling it around. My toes were working. Everything worked. Not even a bruise, not even a soreness, no broken blood vessels, whatever that, it was all gone.
I do believe it.
So I'm like, yeah, that's my Messiah right there.
Talk about healing. Talk about healing.
That's right.
Just thought about Cinnamon, Tonya, the Grandma's Secrets coming out. That's the next one. And it houses this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've known each other in a previous life because when she actually helped me care for my other aunt years ago, and when she showed up as a home occupational therapist to my mom's house where my aunt was staying, when I went to open the door for her, I just remember when I saw her, our energies connected, and it was this feeling like, wow, we're back again. You know, that thing that we do, like when you meet somebody and it's like you've been knowing them forever. And so that was the energy that we shared. And so fast forward, we ended up finding out that I work for Ramasut. And I was outside getting to work one day. My friends had, and Shanika, you're a co-founder. We were working with the kids in the basement at the school, and we bumped into each other in the outside parking. And I'm like, I know you. You're, Saidia, you helped me with my aunt. And I'm like, what are you doing over here? She's like, my daughter goes to school here. I'm like, what? I've been seeing your daughter. And so sure enough, and like we've just been like this ever since, And so anyway, I said all that to say she is the bomb.com when it comes to occupational therapy, and she does other stuff. Like she has certifications in other stuff, certified and non-certified, from breath work to yoga to you name it. She's getting her business off the ground too. So Mama Sai is the group. I know you know half the people on here already, but for the people,
What an introduction. I'm gonna need you to turn your mic off, honey, and say a few words, okay?
Dude, look at this. I see
love it.
it coming together.
I'm just in the background listening, that's all. So, but yes, it's an honor to meet you all and those who I know. I can meet a yogi sister over there, Makimba, Shanika, all you guys. Yes. So, Tanisha, like I've seen you before too. I was looking at you and I was like, I think I
I'm
do,
not
but I'm not
sure.
sure. I'm
I'm
not
not
sure. But
sure.
anyway,
Chicago is
Yeah.
so
it's nice
small.
to
It's
meet you.
possible.
Yeah, but I'm
Love
originally
that.
from St. Louis and coming to Chicago. Yeah, I'm originally St. Louis, like all the way, baby. Stephanie, you're from St. Louis?
No, but I lived there for 7 years.
Mm.
Yes, that's my hometown, still St. Louis bound, but I'm here in Chicago. I'm still getting used to Chicago after coming here when my daughter was 2 and she's 16 now. So, but I guess and to make a long story short, my name means one who helps, idea. My goal is to continue to provide quality care to all individuals that I meet. I'm genuine about really helping people heal. I'm in a place right now of kind of like taking a step back to just kind of regroup. I just turned 51, and in the process of that, I had to allow myself to just kind of sit back and regather everything from when I put all my energy out there trying to help me, like, hey, you want this? Hey, free service. And I was like, you know what? Just step back, just allow yourself to regroup and define exactly what it is that the spirit is telling you to do and just go from there. And so me being a part of the circle, I was just listening to all the amazing stories, what you guys are sharing, and prayerfully just connecting with everyone. And I'm just listening. I'm in the background just listening and enjoying everything and just seeing all you amazing women. And I do, because I'm an occupational therapist, I do Thai massage, I do body work.
My favorite.
Yes. And so mine is more like on the therapeutic side too, because the therapist and me can't leave even when I'm doing massages. And so I'm always paying attention to my spirit leads me to what needs to be done for that person. I'm also led by spirit. And a lot of times people be like, what kind of massage is this? And I was like, well, it's Thai massage with a therapeutic flavor. That's how I describe it because I'm an OT first, and when I feel pain, I see pain, I know how to manipulate, do all this, do all that. And a lot of times when the spirit guides me, that's what happens. I can't explain it. I just, I just go with it. You know what I'm saying? Give me some.
Hey,
And
Your help with my mom.
yes. And so my daughter's gone for a whole week, so I don't know how to act right now. So I'm
Say that. Girl, wait till
it's
they go
like
to
I'm not
college. Wait till they go to college.
girl, I'm just sitting here like I really don't want to do nothing today. Like, don't ask me
And
to come
don't.
nowhere. Don't ask me to do nothing for a whole week. Now, after this week, I'm back on track. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I know she's here in my mind. Got to help her. Got to do this. But I really just want to say that, Pepsi, thank you for inviting me to the group. If you all need my services to collaborate with you all, I'm trained by one of the best chiropractors here, naturopath, Dr. Happy, who
Ooh.
coined the whole kinetic yoga
yeah.
movement, and he trained the trainer who trained us, and he's taught
Wow.
me how to be
Dr.
um
Hakeem.
yes, he
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to be less mechanical and more into the spirit and understanding that the universe is what is guiding me to heal and do all that stuff. So I'm
Absolutely.
really
Mm.
excited about that. And I also work with Miss Ellie Darden Stewart, who's also a doctor of naturopath, and she teaches Akasha Records. So I just learned how to go into my Akasha Records to heal myself and then help other people as well. So I'm just turning up my magic powers. That's all, you know. I want to be an X-Men, and I am an
You
X-Men, but
are.
Yes.
X-Men, X-Woman, however you want to describe it.
I think
But
that's
Ashe.
I
They,
mhm.
you know that magician is on that resume.
hello, the
Hmm.
magic guy. I think that the breathe event has to be
With
this. I think it's gonna be sharing what everybody got.
Mhm.
Like an online
Because everybody got something.
everybody
Yeah.
got
Everybody
something.
got
It's
something.
like we're gonna
Absolutely.
continue to spread this alchemist's corner or this the green book. That's how I always picture it. I picture this is our green book, you
I
know.
love
So
that.
maybe I gotta figure out how to make maybe I just do a short video and be like, that's what this is. So if that's you, come. And then I'll set it up just so one, everybody can get connected with everybody else. So whatever services, and then we can sit with what it means to be that service provider. And then
Mhm.
what do we need to sustain it? And like maybe
Mhm.
that's the conversation. Do our little ingest file. That's what I'm feeling firming up.
Mhm.
I feel that. Yeah. All right. So then that's what this breathe event is going to be about. I'll make sure to get it to you, Tiny.
Yes.
I
And you could
Mhm.
put your information in the chats, dear.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
they can reach out to you or connect with you online,
Yes,
social media.
Thank you
please.
for space
And
today.
Steph, could you put my social media stuff?
Of course.
Yes,
I want
please.
it to you. And
Of course. Matter of fact, let me do it for both of us here.
And I did
and
go through the booklet. All of it is in there. It's very comprehensive as well.
You.
thank you, thank you. And I have a witch group on Facebook for Women in Tune with Conscious Healing. So if any of you are there, um, Stephanie is putting the link in. So we'd love to.
That's on Facebook, right?
That's on Facebook.
I'll find that one. I'm still on Insta right now,
Because you know I'm not doing Insta other than what Facebook publishes on Insta. I'm just terrible with it.
like, let me
I'm
see.
laughing with you, sis. I understand.
You do? Okay. You all are amazing.
No, I'm so grateful to be in this space. I
Yeah.
knew it would be powerful. I didn't know like how yet, but I knew when you asked me, it was automatically a yes. But I didn't realize how much I would receive in this.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm grateful. I'm grateful you thought of me. I'm grateful you thought of us.
Can I
Mhm.
make a
I'm
request?
grateful to like be in this reflection.
Mhm.
Oh, I knew it was gonna be the bomb, honey. I
Oh,
already knew.
like,
I already knew, baby.
Stephanie, can I make a
And
request?
I'm down for taking that Sedona trip too.
Okay. They got
All right.
they got the option for three people in a room, two people in a room. I'm like, oh, we need to figure out who's gonna room with who. Stephanie, I have been too many WhatsApp groups and it's sucking up every bit of my phone's space. Yeah. So can you connect me to your unlisted YouTube?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
And Tanya, I'm on Facebook right now, but I'm not seeing the witch group.
No, did you look in the WhatsApp? I gave you my
Oh,
social media links there.
I'll
For
go.
ease and grace. I wasn't trying to make you work.
No, you good. I was just like, I do not see this. What is she talking about? Okay.
What's
Let
the
me
name of the Facebook group?
Which
Huh?
women in tune with it's Women in Tune with Conscious Healing.
Okay.
And
go. And here go the collective messages on YouTube. That's the actual playlist, so you'll have access to all of them. I think there are about 60 or so in there right now.
been doing
It
it.
started 2 months ago. That was spirit led to a whole nother conversation because I've never considered myself a reader, and I don't think that I do now. And this is one of the ways spirit is using me right now, at least. And so I went ahead and was like, I guess I'm reading cards to y'all. This is crazy.
Well, didn't you say after this book, a lot of powers were opening up for people?
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay, one more question. For the Raising Kundalini experiential retreat, are you guys going to be providing plant medicine and helping people go through journeys, plant medicine journeys at this retreat?
Yes.
Wow.
And there's a whole like there's coursework building up to it. So it's not cold. Like she's gonna Reverend Nim is gonna go through the coursework so that by the time it's time to engage with the plant medicine in the 3D, like there's a deep understanding of how to do that in a safe and beautiful way. Right. So not just like, oh, take some whatever and we not that kind of party.
We just have to get our scheduling on that because we've been kind of in between and shifting. And one of our presenters hasn't finished up her training yet. She went to South Africa to become a Sankoma, an African medicine, South African medicine woman. And so our sister Sabira is still in that process and decided she ain't coming back to the States.
I don't blame her.
To live, but you know, yeah.
I get it.
Gonna be a lot of that going on.
Is it gonna be multiple plant medicines? Like we're gonna try different ones or just focus around one? Okay.
We'll be working with mushrooms, cannabis, cacao. We'll be doing aromatherapy, and also with food.
Okay.
So yeah.
Was Kava on that list?
You know what? Kava wasn't on the list, but we've been using Kava within our family. So most likely, yeah.
But
And
this is aside from the
we started
Sedona.
using.
Yeah, this
What's
is
that?
in April.
Okay.
No, it was going to be in April, but we're shifting. So we don't have anything set yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think the prices might change? Because the prices are in that document. You think they might change?
So the prices are for a particular property in New Orleans. And so they're based on multiple people in a room or a suite. So it's not like an individual, but if we have it more locally or in another space, then the prices likely would change. But it was based on that particular experience.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, that is a powerful one. That's one where it's like I step back and I'm just the chef. And I'm I'll speak to the food piece and I'll do the aromatherapy piece, but yeah.
Well, we definitely, again, as happy. Anybody have something to say? Sadia, anybody?
Thank you for this.
Anybody? Okay, because we're definitely going to have Tonya Parker back on and Stephanie back on when they do Witch volume number 2. That's what I'm calling it right now. We'll have them on, and I'm sure Hattie will come on and talk about her piece too, since she already a part of us sister circle anyway. So again, we thank you all for sharing your time and just coming on and just being with us. And this is how we're going to end our new year, because in the next couple days we'll start a whole new year. So once again, thank you all. Thank you both. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your time and just coming on and just, doing what we do.
Thank you. Bye.
So that's going to end the discussion. You all have a good week.
Until next time.
Yes, wishing everyone a very abundant, peaceful, safe, happy new year.
Ashe.
Hey. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Love you.